Hello, my magnificent friends. Sue Paulson here, your magnificence mentor, and we're back with another episode of Tea with Sue. I wonder if you know the story about how the larvae in the cocoon emerges and becomes this glorious, magnificent butterfly. So larvae look very much like a worm. And when they're wrapped in the cocoon, it's like being in the womb. All right. There's food in there, there's everything that they need to nourish them until they grow to the size where they're ready to come out. Now, when they're in their cocoon, they don't know that they're going to be a butterfly. They probably have no awareness of what they are at all. And what's so fascinating about this whole process is it requires of the larvae a great deal of struggle in order to emerge from the cocoon. And at times, if you were watching this, it would seem impossible. It would seem as if nothing is going to happen, and this little worm is going to be trapped in this cocoon forever. But he or she struggles mightily and bit by bit breaks out and breaks out and breaks out. And what's happening inside the larvae, or the larva, I guess, individual, is this tremendous effort causes a surge of blood throughout the body, powerful enough to give strength to the butterfly wings. So when it fully emerges from its cocoon, then the wings start to unfold. Now they're wet because there's body fluid inside the cocoon, and so it takes a little time for them to dry off and for this new creature that has emerged to find itself, discover itself, get strong enough, and then take flight. Well, if you've watched a butterfly in the woods, I'm particularly entranced by butterflies. They're beautiful. They fly and they flutter. And I even had one land on my hat when I was down in, where was I? I guess I was in Texas one time. And it just this lovely orangey yellow butterfly just perched on my hat and sat there for a long, long time. So my son was able to get a picture of me wearing this butterfly. It was so cool. Excuse me. So I wanted to tell you this story, or share this story of the butterfly, to remind you and to remind me that oftentimes we're in this cocoon of limitations, and it takes some struggle to emerge sometimes as who we really are. So in that cocoon was a magnificent butterfly that didn't know who it was, had no idea of its own iridescence, its own ability to fly and do all the things that butterflies do, and of course delight us. It had no clue about that. But through its journey, it emerged as what it really was. So I wonder now how that can apply to what's going on in our own lives. So there's no question that we come here as magnificently who we are, but the life that we're kind of parachuted into or born into can be very different. And there are challenges that force us to grow lots of times, and things that we don't know, and we have no awareness of who we are, our ability. It takes a while to even realize that we're separate from the things that we see. So as part of this process, at some point, some of us, like a part of us emerges, parts of us emerge, and we begin to understand, oh, I'm a person, and I'm different from other people, and I can do certain things and I can't do certain things. So we kind of piece all this information. It's like putting the puzzle pieces together to have who we think we are emerge. But of course, because we have influences from those around us to indicate certain things, we may or may not, and I think it's more often we may not understand that we're way more than what we first thought ourselves to be. So I was watching a YouTube video the other day by Adamus from the Crimson Circle, and he said that one of our missions, if you will, on Earth right now is to embrace our energy with courageous passion. So I got thinking about energy, and your energy is specific to you and unique to you, as is mine. So I liken energy in this format to our life force, to our inner essence, to whatever it is that vibrates in this life and sends energy out to others. So it's this core of us that for some stays pretty quiet and pretty dormant based on whether they understand that they have this incredible force inside them or not. And if they don't feel that, then maybe they're more cocooned. Maybe they don't work to be the butterfly that they are. For other people, as we discover bits and pieces of more of us, then we look at, oh, I see, well, that's part of me. And so it's our experiences that add to what we believe about our life force. Now, so I got to wondering, so he said, embrace your energy with courageous passion. And I'm going, I wonder why he used the word courage. Well, it didn't take me long to figure out that I certainly have been fraught with fears throughout my life and haven't wanted to let my light shine or let my energy come out in a big way because I was fearful. I was fearful about, well, what would other people think? What would other people say? What if I didn't measure up? What if I wasn't as good as I thought I might be? What if I made a mistake? What if I failed? What if? And there were all these fears and worries and some conclusions that I had drawn, erroneous conclusions, it turns out, about, well, what makes you think you deserve that? Because I'd grown up learning to be self-sacrificing. I'd grown up to put others' needs before my own, and I was trained young. And so it became a pattern, it became a habit that oh, well, if there's any little time left for little me, then it was like scrabbling for crumbs under the table after everybody else has feasted on this lovely dinner. Okay, what's left is kind of I guess the Cinderella complex in my case. And I wasn't even aware that this was happening to me until I was, until I was aware, and I bless the opportunities that came my way to trigger the examination of that and saying, is that really true? Well, it's taken me years to work on the idea and to embrace the idea that I am worthy, I am deserving just because I'm here. Well, guess what? So are you. So, so each of us deserves everything in life that we desire. We are worthy of all that and more. But you might need to change your perspective in order to access that. So this is where the courage comes in. This is where it takes some courage to speak up for what you want. Now, I can recall having a somewhat of a perverse nature and a weird sense of pride in managing without. I'm sure some of that came from my grandmother's experience growing up in the hungry 30s, when you saved every little bit of anything you found, whether it was food or material goods or whatever, because there was no money, and people suffered and they struggled and it was hard. So it didn't, because I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, it didn't take a lot for me to kind of breathe that in and say, oh, it's better to go without, like if you can make do, then make do. And so I became extremely good at that, very skilled at making do, very skilled at going without, at deciding, oh no, that's not for me, I don't really need that. So this fierce independence developed to the point where, heaven forbid that I would ask for anything. Well, the downside of that, there's a couple of downsides, right? The first downside was I rarely got what I wanted in life because I never asked. And the other part of that was because I didn't feel worthy, I didn't ask. And so I thought, oh well, you can't have that because, and once in a while I would get frustrated and feel so deprived that I would do something I would get out of my comfort zone and flat out ask for something, or move towards something that I wanted, and persevere until I got it, because I'd been bereft of whatever it was for too long. Well, it's not that effective. I mean, I ended up getting some things that I wanted throughout life, but there was this resentment that lingered in the back. Well, when is it going to be my turn? And I'm taking a turn, and it came out the way I didn't want it to come out. So I found that when I did receive, I was a poor receiver. I admit it. I was really strong in the giving department, but lousy in the receiving department. And of course, when we don't allow others to give, when we don't receive and we don't allow others to give, we block the flow, right? And so I block the flow lots. And so there's this big log jam of not receiving. So I suspect there's all kinds of things over the logs that if I just move the logs out of the way, I'd be just overwhelmed by all the goodness that was coming my way, simply because I was allowing it in. I was allowing myself to receive it. So it causes a huge dilemma in our psyche. And of course, every time that I got up my courage and asked for what I wanted, there was these little voices in the back of my head that are going, yeah, Sue, you're in a reckless relationship. Why are you doing this? Just leave it alone. You'll manage. You'll get by. But I did it anyway. In fact, I did it this week. I found some courage. I dug deep and I thought, all right, there's an imbalance in one part of my life, and I'm going to ask for what I want. I may or may not get it. I have no idea, because anytime you bring someone else into the equation and ask for something, They have the full right and ability to say no. So I was prepared for that. I thought, well, I guess if I don't get it, I won't be any worse off than I am right now. And if I do get it, it'll make a difference. And so I asked. Well, just the asking felt so darn good that it energized me, and I'm thinking, okay, what else? And it gave me, kind of fueled my courage a little bit more, so that I was less afraid to say, okay, I need to deal with that now. So how can I approach that? And then, oh, there's something over here. Oh, okay. And so I had a great day in just tackling things that had been kind of swamping my boat up to that point. I'd let them overwhelm me, and I was feeling victimized and, oh, poor me. And you don't ever get those days, I'm sure, but I still do. And so but I dealt with it, and I was so happy. And then, of course, the icing on the cake was that this request was granted. I'm going, yes, all right. And so, of course, that inspired me even more. So as I was thinking about what we would talk about today on Tea with Sue, I thought this worthiness issue is a big thing. It's worth approaching from a variety of ways. And I guess because it has taken me so long to move into this feeling of worthiness. I mean, we are, as I said before, we are all worthy already, but feeling it is a different thing. Like, how do we get that feeling? So I went through some of my own history, and I thought, okay, well, how have I been doing this then? Because I feel way more worthy now than I ever felt. What did I do? So simple things, really simple things. So I made a little list here. Let me get to the right page. Oh, so one of the things that I did or happened to me when I was in my 20s was I got fired from a job. Well, if you've ever been fired, you know what it feels like. It's humiliating, it's embarrassing, it's devastating. And the rock that you thought you were standing on just got pulled right out from under you. And I felt all those things. Plus, I was concerned about my career path because this was only my second job. And I thought, oh, is it going to be a black mark on my record and so on? Well, it was interesting that at the time, it clearly demonstrated to me that actually there's no such thing as job security. You can be going along and doing everything that you thought was the right thing to do, and the rug can get pulled out from under you. So, because I have this kind of when the old saying, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Well, I was pretty tough. And so I just was determined. I thought, fine, then I'll make my own security. So that set me on a path that was probably the scariest I've ever been on, but as a result was the most rewarding for me. And out of that, I first had to embrace the idea or the possibility that I was worthy of doing more for myself than what had been done before. So part of it was to be open to the possibility of your own worthiness. So that was one thing that I did. And another thing that was given to me was this exercise. And it's my 100 things that, if you've listened to me before, you've heard me talk about 100 things that you love, like, admire about yourself. Well, sometimes in order to feel worthy, we need to open up to knowing or realizing all that there is that's good about us, our talents, our abilities, our strengths, our skills, everything we've learned to do, everything we've done for others, all of those things can make up a huge pile of reasons to feel worthy. That wow, you know, I am this big person in my own right. And that helped seed the ground. So that was the one of the challenges that I took on. And of course, everybody has more than 100. But if you get to 100, you'll begin to feel better about who you are and that you have more to offer. Now, the other part of this is to start deciding what you want in life, like really want, like what's your dream? What is it that sets you on fire? What pulls the passion from inside that you want to express outwardly? And pick a plan, decide, wow, I'm worthy of having that. I could love myself enough to give me that gift, to pursue that dream, to have that, whatever it is, that would really add to my sense of well-being, that would really trigger all kinds of wonderful feelings about myself. So one of the gifts I gave myself a few years ago was a trip to Greece. And I didn't know when I was presented with the idea that it would mean as much to me as it inevitably did. It was just that I saw myself there. I had no clue where I was going to find the money to go, because it was a long way and an expensive trip. But I just kept focusing on that dream. I see myself there. I'm there somehow, some way. So what we look for, and this is key, is watch for things that come in, quotes, out of the blue. What just drops into your life serendipitously without you asking? Maybe it seems by accident. Well, I accidentally met this person and it opened some business doors that I didn't even know were there. And I got this gift in the mail and I wasn't expecting anything, or this unexpected check dropped in my bank account. And so all of those things, well, we tend to kind of say, oh, well, that's nice, and carry on. But what if that's part of this deserving? What if that's the gifts from the universe because we feel worthy enough to receive? We're open enough to allow all of that goodness, all of that greatness into our lives. Now, is this all just for us? Like, if I'm getting all these wonderful things in my life, is that just meant for me? Well, no. The beauty is when I allow more and more into my life, then I get stronger and bigger in the sense of, I find my wings. I can soar higher, faster, farther, and give the gifts that I have to other people. So that to me is the beauty. So then we come full circle, right? The more I receive, the more I can give. The more I give, the more I can, and the more I allow the receiving, then the cycle continues, and the cycles overlap for each person, right? So we're all in this together, and so it can create this incredible dynamic in how we connect with one another. So this week, I challenge you to look at your energy, the essence of you, and begin to acknowledge how strong you really are. Your force, you are a force of nature. Everybody is. Well, how are you using that force? Are you using it to hide in the shadows and skitter about like a scared little mouse that doesn't want to be seen and is afraid of life? Or is it time to struggle out of that cocoon and become the magnificent butterfly that you really are. You get to choose. You get to pick what you want. I know what I picked, and I know what I'm encouraging you to pick. I want to see millions and millions of butterflies just flying all over the world, delivering their unique gifts. What a glorious planet. And talk about heaven on earth. That would do it. That would really do it. Well, the work is inside us, and the work begins with each of us. It's ongoing. Is it ever going to stop? I don't think it will until, for me, until my last breath. And I'm okay with that. And so I just keep fine tuning and learning new things, and it's quite glorious. So I really encourage you today to figure out how to feel your own worthiness. Ask for what you want. Say no at the things that you don't want. Learn to say no at things that don't fit for you, and walk away from that, and move in the direction that you know is going to bring you that joy and that inner sense, and it stirs that inner energy to be more and more. That's it for this week. It's hot here in Alberta, so I'm going to go out and find a cool spot and enjoy the rest of the day. If you are enjoying Tea with Sue, I invite you to download my app, The Magnificence Mentor. I'll put the link in the comments below. It's a free download. It's filled with lots of great, all the magnificence moments in there for videos, and all the Tea with Sue in case you've missed some episodes. This is episode 27, so we're moving right along here. So I encourage you to download that. And if you would like a no charge 30-minute Tea with Sue, you can always click on the link in one of the latest Tea with Sue videos that says book your no charge 30-minute Tea with Sue. It will link to my calendar. You can pick a time, and we'll chat about whatever's on your mind, and have tea. Have a glorious weekend, my magnificent friends. You know you're worthy because you are that magnificent. See you next week.